I don't really subscribe to the concept that there's one ultimate wood finish, especially when you're making products for clients. It's going to be based on what they want the final look to be, as well as what you're making on how to choose a finish. If I had to pick one I like the most, Osmo Oil is my favorite finish. I rarely use polyurethane, but if I do, I've opted to go with Armor Seal, which is similar to poly but a little different. Barely use lacquer, but I keep it in the shop. Water-based top coats have its place in my shop, and a finish I used to use all the time, which was the catalyst for this video, is Waterlox, and I probably hadn't used it in about 6 years. So like I said, my all-around favorite finish is Osmo Oil. I put it on this kitchen table for my sister in 2021. I don't like to test new finishes on client products because learning how to apply stuff, getting it right, and if it's going to be durable enough, which is really important while making furniture, could be a series of trial and error. So a project for a family member was perfect. If it didn't work out, I could go back and fix it or change it out to something else. But like I said, I put that finish on there in 2021. I've seen the table recently. It has definitely stood the test of time, especially for such a utilitarian surface like a kitchen countertop. So for most of my clear coats, if my customer gives me a choice, that's what I'm putting on there. Before Osmo, I did prefer oil finishes. The problem with oil finishes is it is a timely process to put it on there. The oils dry slowly, and it's not a durable finish, which is going to be, like I said, very important for all of your customers. That is one of the first things they ask, is they want something extremely durable. So you have to put a wax top coat on it. This table was walnut, so I had to tint it so that the wax didn't show up streaky on the top of it, and I had to let the customer know if they wanted an oil finish, because all of these finishes are approved by my customers, they would have to gradually reapply that oil, that wax finish, because it won't last. This produces a beautiful finish. I water buffed out the surface, water sanded the surface. It becomes a little dull after about 6 coats of that tung oil, which does dry slowly, so application process is longer on that. Buffed on the wax, used a buffer on my drill, and it produces a very beautiful finish, but like I said, very time consuming, and there is upkeep on the customer side. After this project was when hard wax oils, which is what Osmo is, started to really gain popularity, and after trying that, I've pretty much shelved this method. Like I said, beautiful finish, super time consuming, but you can see the results are quite nice. If I have a product that's going to be stained, I will use Armor Seal General Finishes. I prefer that over poly. I think it's easier to apply. You don't have to sand it in between every coat like poly, and the problem with poly is it can be really hard to fix it. You usually have to refinish the whole surface, where I have spot finish stuff with Armor Seal, and I put that on stained surfaces because Osmo isn't recommended for pre-stained surfaces. I did at one point use shellac a little bit more. I've had customers specifically ask for shellac, but as you can see, it's a very particular color and finish. The nice part about it is it dries really quickly. It's just not super durable. Where I do use things like shellac is I've done a couple ceilings, brings out the natural color of the wood, dries really quickly, and you don't have to worry about a durable surface on your ceiling for one that you're going to be touching and working on. Water-based finishes do have a place in my shop. I will also use it on stained surfaces, and unlike oil-based finishes like Armor Seal or Osmo, they don't change the color of the stain nearly as much. So I'll get a lot of customers that really like the color of the stain. They don't want it to amber over time, because oil-based finishes will do that, and I'll use water-based because it will help keep colors true. It's also very easy to apply, not a lot of sanding in between, and dries quickly. I have used lacquer on projects, but when I first started out, I didn't have a spray system, which is really ideally what you would use with lacquer. I did use can lacquer on this bed. I wouldn't do that again because, like I said, they're recommended for sprayers, but you can get a nice finish out of lacquer. It does smell horrible. That's something you're really going to want to wear a mask for. I had a shop that used to have open airflow, so it wasn't as big of a deal, but I have lacquer in my shop because I do use pre-finished ply a lot, and even though the finish on this pre-finished ply is not lacquer, lacquer is a very durable finish and is the one product I had that was able to hide scratches and imperfections that I did get on that pre-finished ply, so that is why I have it, and it was a huge time saver in that aspect. Lacquer is really durable, so spraying it, if you have that, is going to be an option. Then you do get customers, and a lot of these decisions are based on what the customer wants the final project to look like. This is a teak vanity I made probably almost 2 years ago at this point. She didn't want any finish on it. I explained to her the risk of that. She was fine with it, and I've had no problems going forward. So you can see there are a variety of products that I will use in certain circumstances, and this project was a perfect example, and like I said, the catalyst for this video. I had made this reclaimed lumber vanity. It was going in a very small bathroom, which means it's going to be subject to huge swings in humidity, which is what affects lumber. Osmo oil is also very durable, but for surfaces where you're going to see a lot of water and that huge swing in the relative humidity in the room, I wanted something a little bit beefier, so to speak, so that is why I decided to put Waterlox on this. She also wanted it to look antiqued right off the bat to match some of her older finishes, so even though Osmo oil does have oils in it, it makes the surface look a little bit more natural. Waterlox has a couple different things in it, but it is classified as a varnish, so it's going to be highly durable. Like lacquer, it does smell terrible, so I always make sure I'm wearing a mask. I could take a tack cloth, clear all the dust off of this, and the downside to Waterlox, and the main reason I stopped using it, is because it takes 24 hours in between each coat, and to really build up a finish on this stuff, you're going to need 5 to 6 coats. So it was a very long process to get it on there. It worked out nicely with this project that I was out of the shop during the process of applying the finish, so I didn't have to worry about getting dust on there. It was the winter time, so this dried even slower, so I could still be productive while taking 6 days to put this finish on there. Like I said, it's classified as a varnish, which is also something that is to be considered for anything that's going to be exposed to UV rays. Varnish is rated very well for that, and like I said, it's going to be very durable. The name Waterlox actually means water resistant, so anything that's going to be exposed to the potential of standing water, sitting water, high humidity, this is my choice for application. Now, like I said, it was funny because this used to be my go-to finish. I have many projects I've done on the channel that used it, and I specifically stopped using it because of that dry time and switched over to hard wax oil. But the purpose of this video is to highlight that it's really a matter of figuring out what the customer wants, what they want the finish look to be. Durability is always going to be a #1 issue, so I really don't use undurable finishes, and then figuring out which one pairs the best with that. Waterlox will look really glossy at first. This is a semi-gloss. The sheen will die down as the oil really cures over time, because there's also tung oil in it, which dries quite slowly, and I could get that perfect finish look. The other downside to this, because it dries so slow in my shop where there's a lot of airborne dust, you can get a lot of dust in the finishes, so that is also a downside. But like I said, I was out of the shop for most of this, so this dried quite nicely. And another consideration, and one of the reasons I stopped using poly, you have to sand in between each coat of poly. I pre-sanded all of this stuff fairly smooth to about 120. Building up multiple coats, I only sanded it once as the grain started to raise around coat number 3, which is a huge time saver when you're doing any sort of finish. Once everything was dry, I could put it back together, and this is one of the better looking finished pieces that came out of my shop. I think material choice played a part in that, because the reclaimed lumber really pops with that Waterlox. But I hope this video helps beginners, especially kind of with their trial and error of finishes. And you can have your favorites, but it's really important to know multiple aspects of finishes because you are going to get those customers that want a very particular look. I personally don't think there is one finish that will check all your boxes for every project. What the customer wants the final look to be, the durability of the finish, how easy and fast it is to apply, dry times, ambering, all those things are considerations when picking out that finish.